Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of News Generation. Let's have a look at our headline stories for this week. Now, students of a senior high school in Accra set fire to their director's car and destroyed other property belonging to the school. We will tell you why. We have seen teachers and pharmacists go on strike. Now it's the doctors. What do they want and why have they laid down their tools? How well do you know the Iron Lady Margaret Thatcher? The first and only woman to date to become British Prime Minister, died last Monday. And the concluding interview between the 11-year-old passionate Black Stars fan and the president of the Ghana Football Association. This and many other stories coming up shortly. Stay with us. My name is Ifwa Kwa Harrison and this is News Generation. News Generation, supported by
Omo, saving tough stains in just one step.
Cowbell Chocolate, 4-in-1 value with a great new taste.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Now, for our first story, students of College Senior High School in Dakuman in Accra set their director's car ablaze and destroyed other property belonging to the school when they found out that the school had not registered them for the West African Senior Secondary School certificate examinations. The angry students were distraught when they spoke to News Generation about their plight. According to the West African Examinations Council, the only option the students have now is to register for WASI in November.
I feel so disappointed. In fact, I regretted stepping my feet in this school because it's very painful when you've come so far 4 whole years. Even my mates in Nigeria, they completed last year. Some of them, they even called me and they say, hey, now that you are writing the WASI, when will you come back? I was crying.
Distraught with pain can aptly describe the emotions of 18-year-old Veronica Wadu. She has schooled at College Senior High School for 4 years, paying all the fees required as a prospective WASI candidate. Victoria could not come to terms with the fact that her colleagues in other schools are writing their final exams while she has to sit out.
My mom was crying. My mom was saying, hey, are you trying to tell me that these 4 years I've spent money on you? Even if we don't buy books, literature books, the teachers, they will be caning and they will be telling us that without those books, we can't write the WASI. And now we've bought all the 5 books. Still, you can't write the WASI. It's very painful.
Her mother had to borrow money to pay her registration fees for the exams. Victoria is just one of 195 final year students of College Senior High School who will miss out on sitting the examination. The students chat about their plight, uncertain of what to do next, trying to understand how their headmaster could do this to them. He never registered them for the examinations, which started on April 8. There are other remedial students who are also very worried.
Now we don't know what to do, and our parents who are not ready to give us different money. So what we'll do is to follow up to get even part of the money. We'll be happy. If we get part of the money, we'll be happy.
Efforts to speak to school authorities were unsuccessful. The director of the school is reported to have blamed WAEC for failing to register the students. But according to the Examinations Council, the school had already been sanctioned for a different offense and should not have been holding classes.
In 2011, College Senior High was derecognized by WAEC. When we say derecognized, it means that we take away their center number, so they are not allowed to present candidates in the name of the school for future exams. So we derecognize College Senior High, not only College Senior High, some other senior high schools for registering students who were not their bona fide students. You know, we got to know that some of the students that the school presented for the 2011 exam were from other schools or from other places. So it means that the continuous assessment scores were forged for those candidates.
WAEC says the students cannot take part in the ongoing examination.
Unfortunately, it's too late for the candidates to take part in this ongoing exam. So we advise the candidates to register for NOVDEC.
Parents of some of the students have threatened to sue the school.
The head teacher of College Senior High School was taken into police custody on Friday for further investigations. Now, this is not the first case of head teachers failing to register students for the WASSCE. A number of cases like this have come up preceding the start of the exams. Now, following the outburst by students of College Senior High School, a second-year student in the school, Mawena Anyomi, has written an interesting poem about the whole scandal. Let's listen to her.
College students have been a victim. We have been a victim by chance. Helpless we watch college man leave us stranded on the ticket of college inheritance. We have been a victim of indifference when once other schools are writing. Frimpong spends our money, but in our mind we carry the secret of Novdek to plan about our future. We have seen the smile of pain. We have seen college man and Frimpong cut off our parents with fake index number once our parents were no more. We have seen college man cut them off from the very WASSCE that allows their sweet soft palms. Our parents cut off from the very school that creates their children's future. This robot called Frimpong and Abraham, where are your head? Where the Dickens are your bloody guts? How can I become a doctor, police, journalist like you without WASSCE? Thank you.
Moving on now, we have seen teachers and pharmacists go on strike. Now it's the doctors. What do they want and why have they laid down their tools? The issues they have raised are the refusal of government to discuss their market premium, money paid as incentive to attract and retain skills. The Ghana Medical Association has indicated doctors will attend to patients already on admission and emergencies until April 14th.
Pharmacists and university lecturers are also on strike, paralyzing the education and health sectors. Although doctors say they are handling emergency cases, thousands of people will have to seek medical attention elsewhere, such as 37 military and police hospitals, if they cannot afford private health facilities. At the Ridge Hospital, doctors attend to emergency cases and inpatients. Regina Owusu is the mother of 7-year-old Kwame, who was referred from a private hospital Friday night. Kwame has severe malaria. His mother, speaking in Tree, says she was in doubt when they were referred to Ridge because she knew doctors were on strike.
I'm free said doctors want to strike, me will be a manager me banner mammy government hospital. Intimidate call private. Intimidate call private no moon to me. Into only so Embra Ridge Hospital. But I can't na me timonts me because me said doctors for call strike. Inti na oka so we embra ba ebeni obi amana hwe still krana minigidi but ye bedu ha enra 10 enumre ye ba ye doctors wo ha che say bibia e perfect muguso mu ye adwuma enra enumre no mu ye adwuma saa up to anopa mo ba ye che say bibia doctors wo.
Like Regina, other parents spoke about the possible impact of the doctors and pharmacists' strike.
The problem we have is the medication, the pharmacy. Because sometimes they can prescribe one medicine for you, have to keep going round because the pharmacy are not working. And you go to one pharmacy, they say this one is not, you can get one of the medicine, you can't get the other. So the problem really is how to get access to the medicine to be used.
Dr. Obin Apori is a medical director at the Ridge Hospital.
Ghana is for all of us. The help of the people determines the wealth of the nation. And when these things come like wars and every disaster, it's usually the women and children that suffer. And we are children, and even the president, we are not even for the future, we are the children of now. Could you please come to an amicable solution so that we can resume service as early as possible so that we are not worse of it. And it's not only the doctor, because now we are also appealing to the educational front and even the pharmacists, that they should all come together and find a speedy solution to this problem so that Ghana will survive.
Meanwhile, government has negotiated with the Ghana Medical Association to pay their market premium in 3 stages, May, July and September this year. But the doctors say they want it all at once. Now, we wanted to know what you also think about this latest strike issue with the doctors. Here's what's up.
It's just recently that the teachers went on strike, so I think the doctors should sympathize with the government and give them some time to get some money before they pay them. Moreover, I also hear that the doctors take an oath, so they should just go by the oath and work, no matter the problem.
In my opinion, I think the doctors will have to go back to work, considering all the patients they are leaving behind, to try to negotiate with the government to pay them. But in another way, to doing this will put their patients in a lot of stress. So I think they should sacrifice all they have for their patients, since they also contribute to the working force, which promotes our country.
I think it's a good idea because they are one of the most important people in Ghana, and the government have to take them serious. You have to provide what they want in order to save the people of Ghana.
Because if doctors don't take care of the sick people, they may die of their sickness.
What I think the government should do is they should dive into the matters and listen to their complaints, listen to what they think, and they should act upon it. Because as now, I think the government has enough money to pay them.
Now, let's discuss a few details of the single spine pay policy, which appears to be causing all the strikes. What is the single spine pay policy? It is a plan initiated to ensure equal pay for work of equal worth. Many were convinced the policy was going to make government workers happy and end strikes, but it has rather stirred the pot of labor agitation since it was started in 2009. So why is it causing disquiet in the public sector? Let's find out.
Why was a single spine pay policy introduced? Issues of low wages and poor conditions of service of public sector workers prompted the policy. It was aimed at achieving equal pay for work of equal worth, as stated in Article 24, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. Another aim of the policy was to attract, keep and encourage workers to enhance effectiveness and improve productivity. Who can benefit from the policy? The single spine pay policy covers all public service institutions stated in Article 190 of the 1992 Constitution, other public corporations as well as other public services prescribed by Parliament through law. Key among the reasons for its introduction was to promote industrial harmony, but the opposite has happened since its introduction. Earlier agitations were due to delays in migrating them onto the new pay policy. But that ceased after all public sector workers were placed on the new salary structure. Another issue which has caused problems are the differences in salary levels amongst workers. That also appears to have been settled now. But now, market premium, which is incentive paid to retain skills in short supply, has now become the major controversial issue between labor unions and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Teachers, pharmacists, university lecturers have all partly attributed their strikes to the failure of government to pay their market premiums. Government says it will now determine the market premium to end the agitations that has been associated with it.
Well, these were some of the major stories that made headlines during the week. Let's check out other stories which also featured in the media in News Round.
Government has rejected a report released suggesting that food prices in the country had shot up 73%. The report by Food Security Ghana claims food prices shot up significantly between October 2011 and March 2013. The National Disaster Management Organization says it will not be able to help in a case of a disaster during the rainy season because of crippling deaths. International humanitarian agencies are reportedly fed up and frustrated with Ghana's inability to deal with perennial flooding, especially in the capital, Accra. Over 200 pupils of Al Isahiya Primary School in the northern region have been left without a classroom, following a joint demolition exercise by the Lands Commission and Department of Town and Country Planning in Tamale. Left with no blackboards and no classrooms, authorities of the school now ask pupils to come to school each day to read their textbooks under trees and go home. Dr. Angela L. Adas, Director General of Ghana AIDS Commission, has said Ghana's new HIV infection rate has reduced by 66% over the last 10 years. She said, The significant decrease had made the country the highest reduction of HIV infection in West and Central Africa. A former Minister of Trade, Alan Tremantin, has lost out his quest to become the next World Trade Organization Director General. This was after he failed to seal through the first round of the selection process for the top job at the World Trade Organization.
It's time for a break. More News Generation when we come back.
Sometimes a stained t-shirt can make you the happiest man. Now Omo Multi-Active removes even tough stains in just one step. Best ever stain removal from Omo.
When your kids need it all, there's only one drink that's got it. Cowbell Chocomalt. It's got the delicious taste of chocolate, the nourishment of malt, the all-round goodness of milk, and sugar for energy, all in one sachet. All I add is water, hot or cold. Now, that's real value. And that's real teamwork. Cowbell Chocomalt, 4-in-1 value with a great new taste.
Welcome back to News Generation. Now let's look at some more stories. Margaret Thatcher, the first and only woman to date to become British Prime Minister, died last Monday. She suffered a stroke. She was 87. Thatcher was a very controversial figure in British politics. She is known to have served the longest term of office as Prime Minister for 11 years until she was forced to resign her position in 1990. Hours after her death, media reports talked about people throwing parties to rejoice just because some of her policies were not liked by many. Here's more about this woman who was also known as the Iron Lady.
Okay, well, I'll see you tomorrow then, 10 o'clock, please.
Margaret Thatcher is portrayed here in the film The Iron Lady as a slightly delusional old woman, seeing and speaking to her husband.
Much too much butter. I like butter.
Years after his death and reliving her memories. She was, however, far from the pale picture we see here.
Goodness, there you are. Yes, here we are.
She was born Margaret Hilda Roberts on October 13, 1925 in Grantham. Thatcher studied chemistry at Oxford University and worked as a research chemist before becoming a barrister of law in 1954. She married her husband, Dennis Thatcher, a local businessman, in 1951. In 1953, the couple had twins, Mark and Carol. Thatcher first stood for Parliament in 1950, but won her first election campaign in 1959. She held her parliamentary seat until she retired in 1992.
To enable us to sweep Britain clean of socialism.
She rose within the ranks of the Conservative Party, holding a variety of positions including Minister for Education in 1970. In 1975, Margaret Thatcher was elected leader of the Conservative Party, a position she held until becoming Prime Minister in 1979. In her first term, the British economy was in a poor state. This situation saw Thatcher reduce or remove a lot of financial help government was given to businesses, a move that led to a sharp rise in unemployment. By 1986, unemployment in Britain had reached 3 million.
She defeated the miners' union and ended a way of life for thousands.
1984.
Thatcher's government went about privatizing most of the industries run by the government, including water, electricity and the trains, selling them off relatively cheaply to new private companies. She also clamped down heavily on trade unions, passing laws designed to curb strikes. One of the pivotal events of her government occurred in 1984, the miners' strike. Britain's miners protested the government closure of mines that were not bringing in money. Thatcher organized Britain around the striking miners and forced them back into work without meeting their demands. She did this at the time because she felt, and the opinion of the time was, that the unions were running the country. It was a defining moment in British industrial relations, and its defeat significantly weakened the British trade union movement by making it more difficult for unions to strike legally. She was forced to resign in 1990 during an internal leadership struggle after she introduced a poll tax levied on community residents rather than property. The unpopular tax led to rioting in the streets of London. Many Britons blamed her for creating soaring unemployment when she reduced or eliminated many government subsidies to business and took on the unions. It is said that the economic and social fabric of Britain has changed. Thatcher has been criticized for tearing the social heart out of Britain. Others say she modernized the nation. She was both loved and hated. Margaret Thatcher is to be buried on Wednesday, the 17th of April. The Queen is said to be among one of the many high-profile guests expected to attend her funeral. That was not all that happened in other places during the week. Let's take a trip around the world. Uhuru Kenyatta has been sworn in as Kenya's new president. This follows his victory in March against Raila Odinga. Mr. Odinga did not attend the ceremony after his attempt to overturn Mr. Kenyatta's victory in court failed. According to Chinese state media, 2 more patients infected with the H7N9 strain of bird flu died on Tuesday, bringing the total number of deaths to 9. The World Health Organization has said that there is no evidence that the bird flu virus is being transmitted between people. Most cases are from poultry. At least 37 people have died in a powerful earthquake that struck southern Iran on Tuesday. At least 850 people were injured, according to Iran's press TV. The Korean and Syrian crisis were high on the agenda for foreign ministers from the G8 group of nations talks in London. Correspondents say Japan, present at the talks, is looking for a strong statement of solidarity over Korea. North Korea has been preparing for missile tests and making war threats against South Korea, Japan, and the US bases in the region. Malawi has accused US singer Madonna of bullying state officials after she reportedly complained about her treatment on a visit to the country. Madonna, who has adopted 2 Malawian-born children, recently visited 10 primary schools funded by her charity. The government accused the star of exaggerating her contribution to the country and demanding VIP treatment. Now let's move on. I'm sure we all have our child music icons who we love. Selena Gomez, Miley Cyrus, Justin Bieber. And you know by now that some schools in Norway postponed exams for a Justin Bieber concert. But would the same thing happen here for these young ladies? Mommy and Daddy correct us when we are wrong because our future. Let's find out more about the Divine Victory Kids. For sisters Therese and Samantha Tebo, being in the limelight is everything for them. But they don't just sing because they want to be famous. Their passion for music comes from something much deeper.
We the children, we have to be happy, we have to live a good life, and we have to be trained well.
To be there without a mother, but getting to age is not easy. And also the things we've passed through. So we won't like other children to pass through the same things we've passed through. That's why we decide to advise the parents and the children most especially, because if they give their parents heart attack, they might die and they won't be able to survive.
Already working on their 5th album, the young Cameroonian sisters have sold over 19,000 copies of their music around Africa and even in the United States. Of course, they tell us they owe all their success first and foremost to God, and secondly to their dad who writes and produces all their songs, and of course, their music videos. and they see themselves merging their musical career with other professions in the future.
I will still act. I will be a medical doctor and I will sing.
I like to be a lawyer.
They now plan to make Ghana their home. Daddy Tebo, who is a single dad, tells us why.
The environment and the society has a lot to do with the upbringing of children. I came here to promote their music at the invitation of some churches, but when I got here, the first day I went out with my friend, we got to a traffic light. I saw everybody respecting the traffic. I said to myself, this country is well made up and the people are well brought up from their homes.
So tell us, will you petition your school authorities to postpone exams to watch these young ladies perform at the Dome? Why not? Looks like watching them will be good fun. It's time for another break. When we come back, the concluding interview with the GFA boss.
Mommy, see 5 tomatoes. Okay, if I take one, how many will be left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Oh, that's my girl. Spell nutrition. N-U-T-R-I-T-I-O-N. That's my girl.
Will you spell nutrition? Champion.
Yeah, that's my girl.
There's no mom like you, no noodles like Indomie. That's why caring mothers trust Indomie to give their best to their family.
That's my mom.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Generation. Now, remember passionate 11-year-old Black Stars fan Syria Mawanyega? I hope you haven't forgotten about him. He wrote a letter to the president of the Ghana Football Association on several issues regarding the Black Stars. We brought you the first part of that interview last week, and here's the concluding part.
How are VFA convincing promising players with dual nationalities to play for the Black Stars without the partnership breaking down at a point in time?
I don't think it has ever broken down. We've had many of those players. The only one that appeared to encounter problem was Kevin Boateng. And Kevin has never lived in Ghana, not even in Africa. He was born in Berlin, he lived in Germany all his life. And so sometimes the socio-cultural circumstances of your upbringing can become a source of a problem when you move to a different environment. But the Black Stars brand has now become so attractive that on a daily basis I receive letters from many young Ghanaian players with dual parentage who wish to play for Ghana. It's become so attractive. Every day you find boys of 10 years, 17 years, 18 years who want to play for Ghana after having played junior teams of other countries. It shows that we are attractive to them. Now, the whole business of managing the national team also includes managing the expectations and some of these cultural differences and backgrounds of these boys that may give rise to different expectations.
After the victory against Sudan, what do you think the team can do to produce performances like this on a regular basis?
We have mapped up strategies. I don't need to make them public, but we have strategies in order to win in Sudan. We'll camp in Kenya. Kenya is an altitude of more than 1,700 meters. We'll be based in Nairobi. Then we'll go and play in Kenya, in Sudan, hot temperature. Then we'll come back the following day to Nairobi, stay there for some days, and then move to, Lesotho for the game. But we are also concerned about the type of players that will be needed for this tournament, these two games, because you need younger players who can run around. In hot climatic conditions, it's very difficult. It takes it has a heavy toll on players, And so medically, what are the people going to do? So we've tasked the doctors to look at how to put players through those harsh weather conditions. I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
And that was Seria Mawanyega interviewing the president of the Ghana Football Association. Now, News Generation arranged that interview for him, and who knows, we could do the same for you. Write to us on all our social media pages and tell us about your issues, ideas, and interests, and you may also have a chance like Seriam did. Now, on to the landmark of the week. And today, Adelaide takes us to London to see one of the biggest and tallest Ferris wheels in the world.
The London Eye is a giant Ferris wheel situated on the banks of the River Thames in London, England. The entire structure is 135 meters tall and the wheel has a diameter of 120 meters. Construction of the Eye started in 1998 and it was inaugurated on 9th March 2000. It is the tallest Ferris wheel in Europe and the most popular paid tourist attraction in United Kingdom, visited by over 3.5 million people annually. The total weight of the wheel is estimated at around 2,100 tons, with each capsule weighing 10 tons. The official capacity of each of the 32 capsules is 25 persons. This means that the London Eye can carry 800 people. It revolves at a speed of 0.9 kilometers per hour and takes 30 minutes for one ride.
So that was the London Eye, Adelaide's landmark of the week. You know, you can always send us pictures of your favorite landmarks and we will definitely use them. That's the kind of week it has been here for us at News Generation. But before we go, we leave you with this inspirational quote. As always, see you next week. News Generation, supported by
Omo, even tough stains in just one step.
Cowbell Chocomalt, 4-in-1 value with a great new taste.
Indomie instant noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.